What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And today was the day for the pullback. We were waiting for some kind of pullback. The market wanted to rip. There was a couple individual stocks that ran, like Snap, a couple other stocks. I can't recall. Apple was another big one. But ultimately, we did pull back towards the end of the day. I didn't actually realize, but the Fed minutes came out today, and Powell is actually talking tomorrow. So that's something to keep in mind. Being said, I don't think there's anything really in there. I know Biden actually came on the horn as well today, and he was discussing his tax plan on corporations and the flat rate tax globally. We still got some more. There might be some more rattling tomorrow. But nonetheless, I think everything is sitting at good support. The market's going sideways. The bonds seem to be chilled out. Earnings coming up. I think we're ready to roll. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the charts today. And as always, I have your watch list for today. Again, this is for tomorrow, 4/8. But what I do have is I got Tesla as always. I got Airbnb, Spot, Twilio, Square, Nndm, NIO, Space, Baba, and Roku. Now, really depending on how the market is, right now we're still playing range. I think we still got some headroom here before we have any kind of major pullback. We've been consolidating. We've been trying to sell off, but there's just too much pressure to keep going up. There's a lot of buyers still moving in. I think everybody is ready to start going back and investing. So this is why we haven't quite sold off. It's essentially on SPY itself. I've had a lot of individual stocks just running crazy. QQQ, it tried to sell off today. I thought it was going to sell off today. I talked about that last night, but it did not. It was denied and started pushing back up. Kind of went sideways, but it is looking bullish. It looks like we may actually push up over this 32.91 tomorrow. Would be a possible. TLT, it did pull back pretty hard today, but as you can see, the market did quite all right. The market really didn't care. As long as the rates aren't going too crazy. I mean, there was a lot going on behind the scenes. We don't know everything that's going on, but we all assume that the yield rates and everything were a problem. And now being the bond rates being a problem. So that being said, TLT has still been pretty sideways. It's still been holding well. So that's definitely a positive. So let's just go on and move to the first of the watch list, which is typically always Tesla. I did actually short Tesla here once this candle actually opened up below the 50 here, and I did short this all the way down. So I did get a nice little scalp on that one. I did actually jump into a longer term swing right here. My whole thought process behind this is that it is at a strong support. You have the 200, you have daily support. There are multiple supports. Let's go ahead and bring up the daily. So the daily, you do have the 50, and you're coming through that trend as well. So that's something else to keep in mind. Given it could possibly even sell off a little bit more, but I think ultimately for the overnight session, I wanted to try to capture this. I do think we push up overnight. Though the tax stuff did come out today, I think is what really kind of sank Tesla even more today and pushed down. But ultimately, I think we are still good on Tesla. Again, my thought process behind Tesla is that we got about a month, 4 weeks till earnings for Tesla. I think Tesla comes out on the 5th of May. Now, being said, the premium build up to that is extremely big, right? Because the moves expected from Tesla are always big moves. You talk about like $100 moves when it comes to Tesla, even with it being moved over to the S&P. So being said, Tesla is one that I'm keeping an eye on. Like I said, I do have a contract for overnight swing. Again, I do like this setup here, and it is hit at 200. Hit 200 is normally pretty good for a reversal. Again, on the daily, we're looking strong. We broke out of that wedge. I think we continue to go up. We needed a pullback. Is this enough? I'm not sure. We may pull back a little bit more, but it is a higher low. So if we do gap up overnight, that will definitely be a great sign. I think start running up for earnings. Again, anything can happen. It could go up, it could go down. Depends on how you look at it, but that is essentially what I am seeing, at least for the overnight play. If for some reason it gaps and then starts to, it gets rejected here, again tomorrow, which is a possibility, I'll just sell my position and look to get back in. But our next one we have is Airbnb. Airbnb actually took quite a beating. I've been watching this. I almost took it here today in the zone, but then it just completely flushed and fast out of there. Now I did hit this support, but what I really want is the 172. Is that something can happen? Now the market looks like it could pull back a little bit. Different tech is starting to do its own thing, starting to separate from the market. You can see that in obviously Facebook and Apple and Amazon are starting to pull away. Tesla's kind of cooled off a little bit, I think primarily because of the tax information. There was some other bad news about delays as well with Tesla, so I think that's what kind of hit it. But Airbnb, watching this, if it does come down here to this 172 mark, definitely looking for entry here if it does hit here. Otherwise, I'll be watching it. I think we might come up and retest the 20 here and then continue down to the 172 before we take off. So just something I wanted to keep on watch tomorrow. Spot is the next one. Spot also has some fantastic support. It's back over the 200 and the 50, and it's just retested the 50, which is a very good sign. Again, you got earnings coming up towards the end of April. That's quite a bit of run before then, but Spot does like to run beforehand, just like Tesla does. So being said, Spot is great on watch tomorrow, so definitely keep an eye on that one. Ultimately, tomorrow, if we could actually, if the market does sell and we do touch that 276 mark, that would be awesome, because then you have the 200 support plus the 50 support underneath, and still be a higher low if it does come down that low. Now I did attempt to do that today, and we might go sideways and we might gap up tomorrow by the time market opens tomorrow. So that's something to keep in mind. Twilio is the other one I have today. Again, very bullish. It's a fantastic company, has great fundamentals in the cloud space. But being said, on the daily, it is looking great. On the daily, we have this downtrend, and we are actually retesting the trend. So Twilio could be another great one. Again, we got, I'm not sure when their earnings is, but big thing here is that it is broken out of the wedge. So we could see a lot of potential upside with Twilio. SQ is the other one for tomorrow. Now, the reason I brought this up, it already broke the wedge. It looks like it did retest the wedge here. If there is any kind of sell-off tomorrow, and which is something that looks like this is very bullish. When you get the 20 and the 50 right underneath the candle, I would expect another daily candle to actually kind of come down and almost touch this. So you're looking at about a 234, around the 234 mark. So 234 will put us right here back in the zone tomorrow. If we do pull back, I would definitely be looking to buy at this particular moment. Again, on the daily, again, on the hourly and smaller time frames, you're probably going to get a lot of rattle in here, but on the daily, it looks fantastic. It looks like it could do a lot of damage, and again, reclaim a lot of the losses that it's had over the past month. So the next one I do have for you guys is Nndm. This one's been getting beat down. I almost took a position here today because it kept sitting on this support. It did actually come down below it, and it looks like it's attempting to go back underneath. But the reason I like this one is on the daily, you got this wedge, but you are starting to hit the 200 moving average, which is a great reversal. And it's right next. I wouldn't be surprised with this wedge that this actually breaks out to the upside tomorrow, or possibly the day after, if we do decide to pull back just a little bit more. But as you can see, you could look at possibly 744-ish mark, 744 mark. which it came close to today. So, I mean, this is very, Nndm is ready to run. So that's definitely one I want to keep on watch tomorrow. NIO is another one, which I don't normally like to call out NIO. I'm not a huge fan of NIO, but on the daily, this thing looks perfect. Actually, if you look at it, the wedge is coming down, actually broke and retested and has a 200. So you got all this support here at the 37 mark. Ideally, NIO looks like a perfect entry in my opinion. Again, anything can happen. The next candle isn't always going to play out the way you expect it, but NIO does look fantastic for tomorrow as well, especially if you're going for a long swing. Again, most of these, you get bigger gains in a long swing, so I try to make bigger, longer swings, and you can do that off of the daily as opposed to the hourly. On the hourly is where I typically have been scalping, but now it looks like we can start doing more swings. I think we got a lot of more bullish sentiment behind us, and I think we're coming into a bullish month. We are in a bullish month. So being said, it's just a matter of time. I think it's a couple of days or so before we really start to take off. So the next one I do have is space. So the next one is space. Let's see here. So space, that is not correct. Why is that not correct? So space is the next one I have, and there's another little wedge here. It looks like it could be another possible break. Again, there's a lot of support here. You got the 200, you got a solid basing foundation here, and you got the wedge. So I think on the daily, it looks good. On the hourly, again, it's holding this, this around $29 mark. Be perfect for an entry. Actually, if you got in today, if it does open up around the $29 mark, it would be another perfect entry for that. Again, for a longer swing, you can day trade it if you want to. This isn't financial advice, but and look for that 31 mark. But ultimately, the setup is there, and the setup is good. Baba is the next one I have for you guys. Baba's been kind of consolidating a lot. If you could get it at the 223 mark tomorrow, if there's any kind of pullback, that would be fantastic. But on the daily, I mean, there's just been a lot of consolidation and solid support here, and that's why I wanted to bring this one up. Again, you can look at the wedge. You're still in the bottom part of the wedge. This might be a couple more days for this to play out, but something to keep in mind. You might even get a pop back up to retest that wedge. So just keep that in mind. Roku is another one. It has broken out definitely over the past couple of days. My biggest thing here is to keep this on watch, right? If this comes back, if we sell off at all, I know it looks like it's already retested here, but if it does come back, I would actually expect another test at the 346 mark. This might actually be a good entry point, because typically what happens is you break above the 50, test the 20, then retest the 50 before you break out back over the 20. So that may be your perfect entry point right there at the 370, about the 347 mark. So one thing to keep in mind, watch the daily. If it does test there, don't let it fall below that 20, and then let it rip at that point. But essentially, that is what I got for you guys. Again, you got Powell tomorrow, so keep that in mind. And that is pretty much it. We are in a bullish month. Start prepping for new earnings coming up. And I think a big bullish mark, something I've been talking about for a long time, and hopefully that will commence now from this point forward. There's been a lot of bullish stuff. There's a lot of infrastructure. There's a lot of EV, a lot of power, energy. There is just a lot of money in the system in general. and a lot of savings accounts out there that want to spend. So, and people that want to get out and spend some money. So being said, remember to manage your risk. Until next time, guys, I will see you guys later.